Welcome to the Old Soul blog, an exploration of spirituality and life. I'm pleased you have stopped by and hope you might consider clicking the subscribe button so you can be notified of future postings. Check out oldsoul.blog if you want to know more about what makes me tick, or if you want to browse more of my material. There was a time when the rhythm of my life was largely determined by the expectations and seasons of the ecclesial calendar. While I now enjoy the freedom that retirement from church-based ministry offers, I do miss some of the rhythms and even the disciplines that pastoral engagement entails. I notice that particularly in the high seasons of the church year, seasons like Easter and Advent and Christmas. So this year I thought that over the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, I would revisit the discipline of Advent with its traditional themes of hope, peace, joy, and love. Maybe you'll enjoy tagging along for the journey. I hope so. Our theme for the first Sunday in Advent is hope. Every year, the Gospel reading on the first Sunday in Advent carries an eschatological flavour. Eschatology is that branch of theology that deals with the future realisation of the kingdom of God, sometimes referred to as the end times. This year, we are pointed to Luke 21 verses 25 to 36 and its call to read the signs, to be on guard and be alert. It sort of reads like a dire prediction of the end of the world, and such passages are often used in that way to contrast the fate of the unbeliever with the fate of the believer, who will be rescued at the last minute by the return of Jesus. But eschatology is not about a triumphalist future rescue. It's about a fragile hope for present redemption. A hope that, while tenuous and fragile, is also resilient and persistent. And that's the hope that I want to discuss in this podcast. I recently came across a delightful version of the song Fragile by Sting, in which he is accompanied by Yo-Yo Ma, Chris Botti and Dominic Miller. You can find the clip on YouTube, or there's a link in my blog if you want to listen to it. What stirred me was the way the song acknowledges the frailty of life, but also sounds a note of resilience, of hope in its gentle refrain, "On and on the rain will fall, like tears from a star, like tears from a star. On and on the rain will say, how fragile we are. How fragile we are." The hope that is proclaimed on the first Sunday of Advent is not a hope that some future miraculous event will save us from the impending doom that we sense and fear. Rather, the hope that is proclaimed as we begin our journey toward Christmas is a hope that, having glimpsed a better future, having glimpsed a present redemption, having glimpsed that for which we yearn, reaches out to drag a little of that future back into the present. It's a hope that is not focused on some future miraculous rescue, but is focused on present action to give effect to that which is hoped for. To live with eschatological hope is to live as though the desired future is a present reality. It's a realized hope that doesn't just yearn for things to be different, but seeks to change the present. Do you hope for justice? Then live justly. Do you hope for peace? Then live peacefully. Do you hope for kindness? Then practice kindness. Do you hope for open, accepting and inclusive communities? Then practice acceptance. When we mark this first Sunday in Advent with the theme of hope, we are not sitting passively waiting for Jesus to come again so that all will be magically put right. Rather, we are proclaiming our willingness to live with an eschatological hope and be an active part of bringing the longed-for future into being. It is fragile and it is tenuous because it depends largely upon human intention and action. But it is resilient and it is persistent because in all places and at all times there are people of goodwill who hold to such a hope. The hope we proclaim challenges us to assess how we live, to evaluate our attitudes, to be mindful of our words, to be intentional about how we act, so that all we do and say will contribute actively and tangibly to the eschatological hope for a world that is just and peaceful and accepting and harmonious. If that's what we hope for, then that's how we must live. Well, that's it for this podcast. Thanks for sticking it out to the end. I do hope you found it worthwhile. Incidentally, if you prefer to read rather than listen, you can find the text of this podcast, along with a host of other resources, at www.oldsoul.blog. And do subscribe if you would like to be notified of future presentations. This is David Brooker, and I look forward to catching you next time.